home energy audit will maybe show you the places that you don't know are trapped in the walls.
Or the roof.
Or roof.
And this is assuming that you have gas for heat. If you have electricity for heat, do what we just said. But if you don't, then your biggest energy hogs or electricity hogs are your air conditioner, your refrigerator, and your clothes dryer, probably unless you have like some crazy sauna, hot tub, something. And so...
Electric thigh master.
So, you know, it's kind of simple. Use less air conditioning. Try to use your dryer less. Dry your clothes on a line if you can. Don't eat perishable food. Or if, when the time comes for you to replace these items, get the most efficient ones you can. Never buy a used refrigerator. Yeah. Yeah.
So I already have a refrigerator. Is there anything I could do to make my refrigerator more efficient or less of a leak or?
Sorry?
The strips on the side that.
The weather stripping, essentially. The gaskets around the side of the refrigerator, if they're older, they'll get loose, so those can be replaced for a tighter seal.
Is that the main offender?
It's the main thing you can do. The main offender is the efficiency of the mechanical. There's not
The
much
other
you can do about
huge
that.
one with a refrigerator is make sure the coils underneath, where it exchanges energy essentially, make sure they're clear. You have to get under there with a brush and get out any lint or, you know, if you have pets especially, that'll gather under there. It just makes it so that the compressor has to work a lot harder. It consumes a lot more energy.
So
And they're often underneath too. So
I-
yeah, it depends on the model. But
I heard on the street today that if you have more stuff in your refrigerator, it functions more efficiently. Have you
I
guys-
heard,
That's true.
and this is not me speaking as a research fellow who says only responsible, carefully researched things. I had a friend who was a chemistry major and a scientist, and he said that about 2/3 full is maximum efficient. And he used to keep in his freezer empty apple juice jars of water that would freeze to keep it about 2/3 full because he didn't have any food.
and why
But
is that?
I don't know if that's true.
Because he was a nerd like us.
Yeah.
Okay, in regards to air conditioning, I had a really long, lengthy debate with my roommates about this, and I hope that you prove that I won the debate. Which is more efficient, to only turn it on when necessary, or to keep it running at a lower temperature most of the day, or all of the day?
I think the answer is it depends. Yeah, get an energy audit. No, it depends how hot it is that day and what you mean by turning it down and how cool you normally keep it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Think
What
fancy
you,
for
what you
I don't
want
know.
to avoid is this, because it takes a lot of energy to get it, to cool down. If it has to come back from 78 degrees every time that it's doing it, then it takes more energy to get it there. It's what they call the thermal flywheel effect. In the same way that the fridge is more efficient when there's more stuff in there, the stuff in your house actually, the heat is already gone from it. So if it gets a chance to heat up, then it just takes that much more energy to get the heat out again. So if you can maintain it at a more or less constant temperature, then...
And if you're only there for a couple
Right.
hours a day, as opposed to the rest of the time.
Then turn on a fan.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of variables in that one.
It's true.
So for advanced users, you can get a watt meter. They are available from the Hennepin County Public Library. You can check them out. They
For
have
free.
40 of them. You can also buy them if you just...
And they're only
have
like
to.
$25 or something on Amazon.
But it'd be more sustainable to borrow it from the library.
Absolutely.
And you plug anything that has a plug into it, and you can also give it your utility rates. You tell it how often it's on, and it will tell you how much energy it uses and how much money it's costing you. And if you're very special, you could go all over your whole house and make a spreadsheet and find out what's using the most energy and then fix it, which is what I would do. But you don't have to. You don't have to be nerdy like that. You can just find some stuff like your TiVo
Check
or
out
your
your
cable
DVR.
box
Yeah.
that use more than you think they do. So that's electricity. For water.
Last one for utilities is water. Like we mentioned before, irrigation is the largest consumer of residential fresh water. So cut that down. as we
Don't
mentioned
water your
before.
lawn.
But after that, the toilet, flushing the toilet, and using the washing machine, washing clothes are the other two major water users in the home.
So if you're replacing these things, get low flow toilet, get the most efficient washer you can. If it's not time for you to replace them, put a brick in your toilet.
And put a brick in your washing machine. No, don't put a brick in your washing machine.
And only wash full loads of actually dirty clothes. There's some stuff back there.
What do you guys think about those dual flush units going on the market right now? I think they sell them at Costco.
I think they're great if you get a good one.
Yeah.
So
Usually, dual flush means you have to flush twice for some of them. But the European ones use the pressure to help flush the stuff down. So they're great.
So toilets, I believe, I've never bought a toilet, but I believe they have something called a flush rating. At least, what's it called? MAP score.
Thank
Okay.
you, Patrick, another research
Another
fellow
research
at
fellow
CSBR.
from CSBR. They have a MAP score that kind of rates if it's a good flusher or not, and then go ahead and get the dual flush. They test, they put stuff in it and they evaluate it. It's a
put
cool
bricks in it.
job.
Zach.
So we won't use hot water, right? Because that takes energy, heat.
Yes,
But
thank you.
were you going to say that? Sorry.
No, I wasn't. I forgot.
But how much energy does cold water require to get to us? Cold treated water to get
Did
to
Gordon
us.
send you here?
Yeah, he did. And number two. Actually, I forget. So go ahead. Number two, in Minnesota, how much of a valuable resource or a limited resource is is water?
We're pretty spoiled here, obviously. We've got a lot of water compared to some places like Arizona, Mexico, Colorado, other places that are much more arid. So we're spoiled with a lot of freshwater resources. But, hopefully we can retain those, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. As far as the question as to how much energy actually goes into cleaning and pressurizing the water that comes to our house, I honestly have no idea. I know that there are the most massive water pumps that I've ever seen at the Minneapolis Water Treatment Facility, which I don't know if everybody knows, but it takes water from the Mississippi River, runs it through fancy filters.
I heard they're broken.
I think they work now, actually.
Oh, really?
They fixed
Good.
them. Yeah, they have a whole website. I think it's called MPLS TAP, mplstap.org or .com. Check it out. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure.
And wastewater treatment as well. Anything that goes through the sanitary system has to go to the wastewater treatment facility, even if it was just a glass of water that you poured down the drain. And there's a lot of energy there as well. And that place smells bad. And it goes back into the Mississippi River where we get our drinking water.
As far as toilets go and like flushing and all that stuff, so are you saying like to flush as little as possible?
Yes, by whatever means necessary.
Let it mellow.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the second step for the more advanced water consumer is to fix the leaks and scour your house, scour your plumbing system for any leaks that might be there.
Including outside.
They use, leaks you can lose a lot of water. We can waste a lot of water from leaks, but generally it's not as much as we use in irrigation and flushing the toilet.
Okay, that was utilities.
So,
These ones are shorter. So site just means where your building is. And the first one is really important, but it doesn't take that long to explain. And it's just short distances. Live near where you go. Live near where you work, where you see your friends, where you go to school, where your food comes from. That's it. It's really important.
that's the simple one. That has a huge effect. So if you can plan for that, make it so. The second one is a kind of a two-part process about the resources on the site. So the first part of that is to identify the resources on the site.
So that means the sunlight you get, the wind that blows through, the rain that falls, the earth underneath it. What am I missing? The biodiversity on your site, the vegetation. So IDing them is the first step. The second step is to take advantage of them and keep them on your site as much as possible. Do you need time to catch up? So that could be high tech. It could be installing solar panels to turn the sunlight you're getting into solar energy. Or it could just be using the sunlight to read by instead of turning on a light. It could be growing your own vegetables. It could be opening your window to catch some natural ventilation from the wind. There's a lot of things it could be. I wrote them down. You could raise some chickens. You could incorporate new biodiversity onto your site.
But the idea is that you want to retain the resources that come on to the site on the site as much as possible.
Like collecting your rainwater, not letting it leave the site, not letting it run off, but taking advantage of it.
Fighting entropy, basically. Yeah, up there.
Is there a filtration process you have to do if you're going to save your gray water before using it on plants and things?
For gray water, generally no. Unless you're running it through an irrigation system, something that would get clogged by things in the gray water, generally no. Unless that's with the caveat that, if there's any kind of meat or other human effluent
Parts.
You don't want to put that on anything that you're eating, ever, pretty much.
Thank you.
Right, which is a good distinction. That's not gray water. Anything with human stuff in it
Or food
or
waste.
other food waste generally is not
Counting
gray
the
water.
lettuce.
It's called black water. So you don't want to use that stuff on for irrigation. What's that? 120 days. You have to wait until.
Well, not human, but if it was animal excrement, you would want it 120 days.
Okay.
If it was animal excrement, okay. Animal excrement is organic rule of 120 days in contact with that soil that's going that has something that you're going to eat.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next one.
Oh, these are. Okay.
What?
Nope. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Never mind.
So the last one is program, which is the way designers talk about the space that you have. And the way people usually think about building or buying a house or an apartment is the way we talked about it with the Mad Libs, where you think about the number of bedrooms you have, the number of bathrooms you have, the size of the